Alright, Star Warriors, welcome to the misadventures of Rian Johnson. When the infamous director sticks his foot in his mouth, we expose the lies. And he's at it again, making more statements trying to justify his movie. And he has another article. He's not being interviewed, but he is on social media tweeting explanations trying to justify not only the Carrie Poppins scene, but also Luke's doppelganger scene at the end. But we're going to see where his justification is going to come from, and I would suggest that everyone stay tuned and listen closely, because there's a lot of trickery in the words that not only Rian Johnson uses, but also the guy writing the article. As always, I don't really read too many articles that are against the Last Jedi, because, well, you know, why bother? There's so much. It's easy to pick the movie apart. The pro Last Jedi articles are always much more fun. So, the title of this article is, "Let Rian Johnson silently show you the precedent for that Luke twist in The Last Jedi." And the first paragraph starts, "A lot of cool things happen in The Last Jedi, and for reasons of varying validity, some people are mad at them." Did you catch that at the beginning? The guy writing the article, you know, defining for all of us adults here what is and isn't cool. When people are writing things, they're always very suggestive in a certain way, especially when they're trying to cover for a major disaster. Okay, so let's get on with this. Specifically near the end of the film, so we're talking about a cool scene here, specifically near the end of the film, Luke Skywalker appears on the salt planet of Crate in order to help the remains of the Resistance fight the First Order. Miraculously survives an all-out attack from all their weaponry, duels with Kylo Ren, and gets stabbed in the heart with a lightsaber. I want to take a vote of some sort. How many people would classify what happened in that movie as a duel? I mean, to me it looked more like a dance. But maybe that's just me. You guys can comment in the comment section below, though. Duels with Kylo and gets stabbed in the heart with a lightsaber. He's dead! Exclamation mark. You have every reason to assume. But then, he's not? Turns out Luke was actually projecting a version of himself all the way from Acto. Then he melts away into nothingness. For some viewers, Luke's powers seemed implausibly powerful, like they had been invented out of nowhere for the sake of a plot by a madman director who was ruining the franchise and didn't care about Star Wars canon. Sounds like the person who wrote this article has been listening to my channel, right? And reading you guys' comments down below. Rian Johnson, that madman director, has decided to quietly point out on Twitter that there's totally a basis for that twist within the Star Wars universe. You would think that the basis for the twist would be somewhere in the 7 movies that came before, right? I mean, listen carefully to what this guy says in the last, I don't know, two sentences in this paragraph. I'm going to read this slow so nothing gets past us. Luke's powers seemed implausibly powerful, like they'd been invented out of nowhere for the sake of a plot by a madman director who was ruining the franchise and didn't care about the Star Wars canon. Okay, I want you to pay close attention to that canon, because in the very next sentence it's going to be very important to what is actually being said, what's being covered up, where the smokescreen is at. Rian Johnson, that madman director, has decided to quietly point out on Twitter that there's totally a basis for that twist within the Star Wars universe. Basically, what this guy is telling you is that he's going to justify what is now canon, because of the Last Jedi movie, with something in the Star Wars universe. Not necessarily something within Star Wars canon. So let's go on. Rian Johnson is now tweeting, and I might show his tweets on the screen. He's tweeting images, and it looks like he's got a library, his own personal library at his house or whatever. Just books. It zooms in on the cover of a book, and the title of the book is called The Jedi Path. Okay. It zooms in on a page. It says, Doppelganger. permits a Jedi to create a short-lived duplicate of himself or herself or an external object that is visually indistinguishable from the real item. Those who have perfected this ability can create phantoms of any person of their choosing or trick an enemy into seeing more objects, such as droids, than are actually present. Okay, that's the end of the page that he shows. Notice how there's nothing in there about how this power could kill you. Okay. For anyone wondering, the Jedi Path is an annotated Jedi training manual that was published in 2011. It's not technically canon. Okay, I mean there's basically no reason for the word technically to be in there at all. It's just plain not canon. But let's move on, as everything that was part of the expanded universe was wiped away in 2014. I mean, saying it's not technically canon is like saying Jason and Jana Solo are not technically canon. If you're not familiar with the expanded universe, Jason and Jana Solo are Han and Leia's two twin children. See what I'm getting at here? See how that guy kind of uses that word technically to make you think that this non-canon event or this non-canon thing might be more important to canon than it actually is. It's like in current canon, Han and Leia don't have a daughter, and their son's name is Ben. So basically this doppelganger power is as credible as Jason and Jana Solo are. And then in the rest of the article, people kind of ask Rian about Carrie Poppins, and he gives a bunch of bad answers. I'm not going to read it because you've heard me talk about Carrie Poppins countless times before by now, and he doesn't refute any of the points we brought up in our videos. So, I mean, that's kind of the article. So what I can say I've learned over these last couple of weeks about Rian Johnson is that as a man who wrote Jake Skywalker into a corner by concocting a ridiculous power that he conceived of himself, really, it seems only fitting that he sacrifice his own career at Disney as a last-ditch effort to save his reputation and perhaps become something of a hero, because his attempts to try and explain this movie are just cringe-worthy. Anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Like, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, if you're listening, you are the new rebellion. 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 You are the new rebellion.